AITA for refusing to cook for my family despite cooking for myself and saying they deserve to go hungry? Story 1. Not the a-hole. So I 16M still live with my family, obviously. I have chores just like my siblings. But something I do for fun and because I love and have a passion for it is cooking. I started cooking for myself 3 years ago. I had cooked before, but nothing like the last 3 years. I enjoy making my own breakfast and dinner and even lunch if I have no school. My parents saw I was cooking more and they added that to my list of chores because mom said they didn't want to waste food and dad said it was rude to cook for only one person. And I didn't mind cooking for everyone. But they were so f-king ungrateful. My siblings and parents alike. Complaints I got were too spicy, wanted potatoes instead of rice, wanted rice instead of noodles, wanted beef instead of chicken, wanted something plain instead of spicy, wanted no veggies, wanted a more veggie-focused meal, wanted lasagna instead of pasta bake, didn't want soup. Didn't like the flavor of soup, didn't want something sweet, wanted something sweet, changed mind and wanted meat well done, wanted more kinds of potatoes, and the list goes on. None of this was constructive either. It was whining and complaining, and I did start out asking what I should do, but everyone wanted something different, and I'm still in school. I can't spend 6 hours cooking dinner on a school night so my siblings can have pizza, fries, nuggets, tacos, and my parents can have steak and potatoes and gravy and all the trimmings or none of the trimmings, but 5 different kinds of potatoes. I even made a weekly meal plan for a while, and they wouldn't complain until after they ate it. I spoke to my family about the way they were behaving, and my mom told me that's the reality of cooking for a family. She said my siblings and dad had always been like that with her. I pointed out I hadn't been, and she just said that, and she said, yeah, but it's part of life. I told her, so she decided to treat me worse than I treated her, and she told me I was being difficult, and I told her no, she was taking everyone else's behavior out on me. A few times my dad or one of my siblings would say I wasn't a very good cook and they hated eating my food. So I said I wouldn't cook anymore, and dad and mom would get pissed and my siblings would call me lame. So I stopped cooking for them. I cook just for me again and my parents are furious. They all come home hungry and I have nothing ready for them. Not even my siblings. My parents told me it's disrespectful and I cannot continue, and I said they were all the disrespectful and ungrateful ones shitting all over what I made for them. They told me I shouldn't be okay with letting them go hungry, and I said they all deserve to go hungry. My parents said it was a disgusting attitude and they grounded me for 2 weeks. AITA? Our advice. Based on what you've described, you're definitely not the asshole NTA in this situation. Here's why. You cooked with genuine intentions. You started cooking because you enjoyed it and wanted to take care of yourself. Family's unreasonable expectations, your family's demands and complaints about your cooking were excessive and unappreciative. It's unreasonable to expect you to cater to everyone's individual preferences, especially given your age and other responsibilities like school. Lack of appreciation and respect, your family's criticism and ungratefulness towards your efforts were hurtful and demoralizing. Cooking for a family should involve some level of gratitude and understanding, not constant complaints. Standing up for yourself, it's commendable that you stood up for yourself by refusing to continue cooking for them when they were consistently disrespectful towards your efforts. Deserving respect for personal boundaries, it's important for your parents to respect your boundaries and acknowledge that you are entitled to pursue activities you enjoy without being taken advantage of or criticized unfairly. Your parents grounding you might be their way of trying to assert authority, but it's important for them to reflect on how they've handled this situation. It might be helpful to have a calm discussion with them about your feelings and why their response has left you feeling unappreciated and disrespected. Ultimately, it's important for families to communicate openly and respectfully to resolve conflicts like these. First comment, NTA. With your age, unfortunately, there is not a lot you can do here. Once you have a part-time job, start buying your own groceries and they can't complain about it being a waste of food. To some extent, people being ungrateful and complaining about food is a fact of life. I'd expect that from siblings and kids, but not your parents. They're acting like children. They should be encouraging you and supporting your hobby, but instead they used you and treated you badly. Second comment. NTA. Not wanting to be griped at over the food you make is reasonable, especially at your age. If they are so emphatic about not liking your food, they should cook for themselves. You didn't get married or have kids, so making you responsible for all these people your parents chose to have in the household isn't remotely fair. If you want to give them another chance to appease your mother, set clear ground rules. Set a day and time of the week for meal planning that everyone can make, and if they skip it, they can make suggestions beforehand by text, but you can't promise they'll make the list. The people who come to meal planning have to agree on a menu. If nobody comes, it'll be chef's choice all week. No complaining that you want something different than was agreed on. If you want something different or didn't show up, you know where the kitchen is. Constructive criticism that you can do different next time about actual problems with the dishes you cooked, like uncomfortably spicy, nothing about wanting something else or acceptable but should be kind. Anyone who breaks the rules can cook for themselves for the rest of the week. If the family as a whole breaks the rules 3 times, someone else cooks next week because you won't. Keep track of the meal plan and the strike somewhere everyone can see it so they know where they stand. Lay out the rules for everyone, and the family can choose to follow the rules or make a parent responsible for feeding everyone again. Story 2. The AITA for not letting my stepdaughter eat the last of one of my son's safe foods? Not the a-hole. My son 6M is autistic and he is nonverbal with a lot of sensory issues. He has very restrictive eating and his list of safe foods is very low, which is something being worked on with a feeding therapist, but he's struggling through feeding therapy and is not yet at a point where he has many options. In his safe foods are a specific brand of roast potatoes, a type of fruit cups, and one type of chicken bites. Very, very rarely he will eat something else, so we always do our best to have those safe foods on hand and in good supply. But the chicken bites have been unavailable for the last 3 weeks, and for the last 2 weeks we had some money issues after some trouble with our house. This meant we did not have as much to spend on groceries last week, and because of this, I was extra vigilant about making sure the safe foods were secure for my son, especially because he doesn't eat a lot regardless, so it's important he has something available for him. My stepdaughter 16F saw the last of the chicken bites and wanted them for herself. I told her she couldn't have them because her brother needed them. We were running low on other stuff, and I needed everything to keep us going until my husband got paid again. My stepdaughter said she didn't care and she wanted them and should have them. I refused to let her have them and offered her something else instead. She complained that she wanted nothing else and I told her she can eat something else but her brother cannot. When my husband got home, he backed up my decision, and my stepdaughter was so pissed. She told my husband's parents and then they were pissed. They said I should have let her eat them and encouraged my son to eat something different instead of making her find something else, that she's old enough to get to choose what she eats. They also said I made her hate us more, me and her 2 siblings. My stepdaughter also told her maternal grandparents her mom passed away while I was pregnant with my son, and they were furious and said I have no right to stop her, and how dare we act like she gives a shit about my kids eating or not eating. My stepdaughter has been especially angry since, and I sat her down and apologized if I upset her by saying no, and she told me I didn't have the right to stop her because I'm not her parent and she doesn't care if my kids starve. We're nothing to her. She told my husband's parents I had tried to talk to her, and they rubbed it in more. My husband was furious with his parents and he's still on my side, but I feel so worn down by this. AITA? Our advice. Based on your description of the situation, you are definitely not the asshole NTA in this scenario. You are acting in the best interest of your son, who has specific dietary needs due to his autism and sensory issues. It's crucial to prioritize his limited safe foods to ensure he has something he can eat, especially when facing challenges like supply shortages and financial constraints. Here are some points to consider. Advocating for your son as a parent to a child with special needs, your primary responsibility is to advocate for your son's well-being. This includes ensuring he has access to the foods he can eat comfortably. It's understandable that you would prioritize his needs over other family members' desires for convenience foods. Family support and understanding. It's disappointing that your stepdaughter and her grandparents reacted with such hostility. They may not fully grasp the severity of your son's condition and the challenges you face in managing his dietary requirements. Your husband's support is crucial here, and it's reassuring that he stands by your decision. Communication and compassion. While you have nothing to apologize for regarding your decision, it's important to communicate calmly and compassionately with your stepdaughter. She may be feeling neglected or misunderstood, especially if she perceives attention being diverted from her needs due to her brother's condition. Reiterate the importance of empathy and family support in navigating these challenges together. Seeking professional advice. If tensions persist within the family, consider seeking advice from a family counselor or therapist who specializes in blended families or has experience with children with special needs. They can provide guidance on fostering understanding and communication within the family unit. In conclusion, prioritize your son's needs while striving to maintain open communication and understanding within your family. Your actions are rooted in caregiving and compassion, and you deserve support and recognition for the efforts you're making on behalf of your son. First comment, NTA. Obviously, you can't have your son starve. The biggest assholes by far are the grandparents feeding into this. This isn't about the nuggets. This is a power struggle thing she's calling in reinforcements. It's bigger than a snack. In inner-orbed families, it's often the other children who feel the most neglected and unseen, or get forced into caretaker roles and need therapy the most. This acting out seems rather disproportional, but it's likely her lightning rod for a bunch of complex feelings. If you don't already have a team of mental health professionals helping with your stepdaughter, your son's eating, and your entire family dynamics, you're doing all of you a massive disservice.